Hello, welcome to another video on the JJ thing. Today we will be discussing the question of Islam, Arabs and their relationship to the West and Poland. So at the moment I live in Great Britain, in London, and as all the statistics show, the number of Muslims in the capital is going up and up, it's increasing. And the same is the case in other Western countries and their capitals, such as Berlin in Germany, Paris in France, Sweden, I heard, as well. And in Lisbon, I heard that there's recently been a lot of immigration. And I think those are the main countries. And of course this is important because this is a major change in the demographic structure of the Western societies. In Poland, at the moment, this is not the case. Our country is still very much of a single ethnicity. It's not multi-ethnic. So we can see from a distance how this experiment, this multicultural experiment, is panning out. Yes. So now let me start reading some sections from my article. And we'll begin with the first paragraph here. And some important facts to consider alongside what I just said are the following. Yes, so Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world, and many countries from this geographical area are not suffering a population decline. What's more, many states, particularly in the Gulf region, are also prospering economically and are starting to decouple from the dollar-based system. I also noticed that many rich Brits are moving to Dubai and such places. Personally, these places are not my cup of tea. I will never move there, but there we go. I think it's mainly due to the tax system there. You don't have to pay tax. So here, as a younger man, when I was much younger, yes, I must confess that I was fervently anti-Muslim. But my attitude to the Muslims has definitely changed in the last few years. And I do notice their point of view, and in some respects they are on the right side of history. After the recent events of Gaza show, yes. So some of my views have remained the same concerning this part of the world and the people, and also their religion, but in some other respects they have altered. So first I'd like to discuss the aspects I respect in Muslims. And I use the term Muslim since Islam really is an inseparable part of the Arab consciousness and other parts of the Muslim world, yes. So Muslims, they're steadfast in their rejection of decadent Western values, and they are intolerant, and because of this intolerance they are winning the cultural war, while the West continues its decline, malaise and rot through its belief in liberalism. Yes. So Islam, they reject abortion, they reject contraception, state-sponsored LGBT ideology, pornography, and in a general sense, godlessness. And I'm not surprised that they look at this Western culture of ours at the moment. Well, Poland is better, yes, but in Britain, definitely, it stinks, doesn't it? It's awful. What is happening here? The proliferation of OnlyFans, the hookup culture, everything really, right? It's godless, and this is why Muslims they have large families, they have many children. So in the concerning demographics, yes, they're winning as well. From a cultural sense, the strain of Sufism, it does remind me a little bit of Eastern monastic orthodoxy. And many Muslims, they do nobly submit to God, which is both commendable in theory and in practice. So some of these passages of Sufism are reminiscent of passages written by Kierkegaard, something I noticed. Nevertheless, I still have some major issues with Islam and the Islamic world. So, I do consider myself a Christian. I believe in Jesus. I believe that he rose from the dead. I believe he is the Lord. Yes, he is my Lord. And because of this, I cannot help but look upon Islam as a half-truth and a late heretical offspring of Christianity. In my analysis, it is more of a political ideology with the aim of uniting Arabs and other ethnicities in this part of the world to achieve political aims and goals, which is attested by Muhammad's life. So Muhammad, he was pretty much a bandit, you could say, yes? And a good bandit at that. But also a good political leader who united this part of the world. So in many lands, both historically and in the past, it brutally eradicated or enslaved Christian populations in order to further the cause of jihad, yes? With the end goal being to establish the caliphate. And of course, theologically speaking, there are some major issues with the religion itself. So the God of Islam is not known through reason. There is no logocentrism. And the Quran is by and large poetry that aims to speak to the soul rather than to the mind. So these theological inconsistencies are also reflected in the Quran and Hadiths. And it's not surprising because they were all written many years after Muhammad died. And because of this, we see these inconsistencies, which is further shown by the numerous sects of Islam that constantly fight between each other. Of course, the same is the case in Christianity. But I thought it was important to highlight this. Still, in Islam, Jesus and the Virgin Mary are respected, and this is not the case in Judaism. So far I mentioned the theological aspects, cultural aspects of Islam. Yes, so this part talked about culture. This part discussed theology. And finally, I want to discuss Islam and the Arab world from the political perspective. So I do sympathize with the Muslims from this perspective because it's clear that all of their countries were destroyed unlawfully by NATO and all of these USA-led coalitions that supposedly intervened in the name of democracy and human rights. But of course this is a lie. These are just slogans to justify an unjust war. And the result of this was the destruction of Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Libya, which beforehand were better functioning societies than now, right? Now it's just chaos. There's just chaos over there. Also, Gaddafi, for instance, he was eliminated. Gaddafi was the leader of Libya. He was eliminated due to his plans for monetary independence. So this really begs the question then as to whether the whole Arab Spring revolts, which took place, I think, roughly in 2010 or sometime then, whether these revolts were organic or funded by the USA, like all the other color revolutions that we see. Most recently, for example, in Ukraine. So with all this in mind, for Poland, it's important not to be too ideologically driven in political matters and concentrate strictly on state interests. We should handle with the Muslim world. We should improve our trade relations and not be goaded into having this anti-Islamic mentality. Because Poland very much is part of the third world. We think we're part of the West, but we're not really. Geographically speaking, we are, but economically speaking, we are not. We are a poor country, and our economic interests lie with the third world and Russia. Because through such an arrangement, politically, we can improve our position in the world. So yes, I think overall this is what I wanted to say regarding the Muslims and Islam. Oh, actually, there's one more thing I wanted to say. Sorry, I forgot about that. So for Poland as well, when Poland was partitioned, it was only the Ottomans and Iran, Persia, that did not recognize the partition of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. So this underlines my previous point that allies in the realm of politics are not always the ones that are most culturally similar to you. They can be quite distant, yes, from you in that respect. So yes, that's what I think about Islam, Muslims and the Arab world. I met many great Muslims over the last few years. People from Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, good people. I can't put them all into one basket. I can't do that. So, yes, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative for you. And see you on the next one. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, because this will help me to develop the channel. Have a great day.